and before you start something like this, you should know who you're talking to.
You should know who you're talking to.
Right? Like, you should do your research.
Most definitely.
You know, like, you should know the guy on the other side of the table, the guy on the other side of the mic, who they are, what they bring to the table. You know what I'm saying? Look, I want to start, you know, I think you started recording this, right?
Sure, recording.
All right. I want to start by, you know, thanking you for coming down here. You know, you drove down from Philly to come do this.
Hour and 40 minutes, my man.
Yeah. Yo, I appreciate you, bro.
You already know, man.
I really do. That shows a lot of, it just shows a lot of character.
Yeah.
And who you are as a person. And I reached out to you, you know, to do this because I have little to no knowledge on how to do it.
Right.
And you are an audio engineer.
Yeah.
You know, that's what you do.
That's what I do. But, you know, been doing it for about 5 years, every Sunday.
Yeah, but like we talked about earlier, you're not on the Joe Rogan wave.
No.
Like, you've been doing this for your church. You went to school for it. You're an audio engineer.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So in my mind, I thought I need to be more vocal about what it is that we're doing as a business. And then also, I feel like these conversations, documenting them, I mean, they live on forever.
They're the evergreen, man. The evergreen. So basically, for anybody that's listening to this thing for the first time that don't know who is the guy on the other side of the table here that I'm talking to, let them know, man, who are you, what it is that you do.
My name is Muhammad Ismail. I own Cap Swag stores and an online site, along with multiple retail locations down the shore. The online site is operated by me and my business partner, Phil Chahet. And, you know, we've been in business for a few years, and, you know, we just consider ourselves builders. That's what we do. We just want to build a better life for us, for our family, for our staff members, for the people involved. So that's who we are.
Awesome. So Cap Swag, is it capswag.com?
Yeah. So initially, you know, I'm gonna keep it real with you. It's funny that you ask about the name, right? Because the name started off as a joke, honestly, right? So I'm over here, you know, my wife is pregnant at the time, and we're having our firstborn kid. And, you know, in my mind, I'm thinking, I gotta get this shit together. Right. You know what I'm saying? I got a kid on the way. We gotta keep it real.
Yes, you should be.
Right. So I'm thinking, this kid gotta go to school. Like, it's pumping in my head every day. I'm like going, like, I obsess over things like that, right? So, you know, I'm coming up with concepts and ideas for this business that I want to build in the headwear industry. Like, this is what initially how the name came along, and I'm thinking, all right, cool. I'm dyslexic, you know. I am, so I'm letting you know that I am right now. So I'm like, I gotta find something that's easy to spell. And that's catchy, and that is going to resonate with customers, and also that's going to resonate with Google.
Ooh, it's funny you say that. Not to cut you off, but when it comes to naming, right? I always tell most of my students, they're like, "Oh my God, my name." People spend a lot of time on their name, and then when they get to it, you can't relate. And I tell people all the time, their name is important for searchability. If I'm going on Google and I'm going to go look for Cap Swag, I'm not going to type in cap _ square swag and none of that. So that's what people are doing these days. They're just choosing a name, and then they can't find it on social, they can't find it nowhere else, but they still decide to use that name. And for you with Cap Swag, you're Cap Swag everywhere. And that was important. So I put a lot of thought into the name on an initial level, not because I'm obsessed over a name and you know how some people, you meet them, they want to start a business, so they're out there like trying to pick the best logo and the best name for like years. Right. That's not where I was at. Years. I'm over here obsessed about this thing for a week, straight up trying to get it done. I'm like, I need to get this name, I need to get my logo, I need to get my brand identity up and running immediately. Wow. And then I need to focus on building the business, because I don't care how good your logo looks and your name looks. If you ain't got no business, what you have is a cute idea. You have nothing else. So I was trying to tell you
how it came about as a joke.
Right.
So I'm like thinking about the name. I'm like, I need something for my dyslexic self so I can type it easily in the computer, regularly. And then also I needed to be catchy for Google. I needed to be catchy for the people. I needed to be something that I can really get behind. So I'm thinking, I'm like, cap. I needed to have something to do with headwear, cap. And then Cap Swag popped into my head. My wife was like, man, that's horrible.
Nice.
She was like, yo, that's horrible. No, don't do that.
Right.
I'm like, listen, this is going to be, that's the name. Right. And the more research I did on the name, the more I realized it was the name.
Wow.
So people associate the name swag with what? What is swag to you when I say swag?
It's a fashion. It's, like...
I want you to look up the word swag on your phone right now. Man, it came to me like God was whispering in my ears. And y'all listening to this right now, you're like, this dude's kind of building this up right now.
We're going to look up swag.
But just look it up right now, and then it'll all make sense. Yeah.
Swag meaning.
Yeah, look it up.
Swag refer to a valuable goods often obtained illegally.
We're not going in that direction.
Right, definitely not. Just because your friend has a bag of swag does not make him, her a pirate.
Keep going.
Although the patch of a wooden leg might say otherwise, generally means loot, booty, or plunder. Yeah. Swag is stuff in a bag of excited party goers.
Go ahead, keep going. You're in the right direction.
And ponders alike. So the word swag once had many meanings, such as stuff we all get.
If you keep looking down on that, right, you're going to find a section about swag also meaning promotional products that are given away to people. You understand?
Tell me more about that. Yeah.
So when I read that, I thought to myself, this is it. This represents the current, and the current was nothing, but it represents my visual, idea of what this business is going to look like immediately.
Okay.
But it also represents lifestyle, and it also represents the future of where I knew this business was going to go. And the promotional side of it, I always knew that one way or another, that's where we needed to be.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that name, I baked into the cake so many conceptual things that I felt were important. 7 letters, easy to read.
Wow.
.com, not .ca, not .bb,
Bro, we ain't about to go into that.
No,
man.
we can't do that. You can't do that. That's a negative.
.net, .co, but it's a business. Like
it's a business.
It's a business.
Yeah,
it should be easily .com searchable, because that's how the mind is gonna think immediately.
There's no legit. Man, you were talking like I had the website set up like 7 years ago.
Wow.
Like online shopping and credibility was not always there. Like if you think back in the day when you was buying online, did you think that you were going to receive all the goods that you ordered? There was a percentage that you weren't. There was a lot of fraudulent activity, bro. Like that's what it was.
That's real rap.
Every website was suspect unless it was the top websites. But all that other small joints, like they were suspect. You placed an order, you were like waiting whether you were going to get your items or not. So to add anything but .com, you were already behind the gun.
Right.
You have to add .com. What else are you gonna? Unless you're an organization or a school or something like that, and it's informational.
You can hit that .org, but
no .com, no .close, no .money.
None of that.
That's it.
Yeah,
that's it.
Okay, so how did this all start, man? Like, take us back, us, the listeners, anybody that's in this room, anybody that's watching, listening, whatever. Take me back to the very first idea, like how this all started.
Well, I told you, like we were talking about earlier, we were talking about our backgrounds, and I was really trying to get to know you as a person. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like we knew each other casually. We met once before, talked on the phone, but we never really knew each other. So I told you before, I'm from Brooklyn.
Okay.
I'm from Sunset Park, right? So 55th and 6th and 7th, it's exactly where I'm from.
Nice.
I grew up there. I lived out there for about 18 years. Then my family moved out to Jersey when I was about 19. So growing up in that environment, it made an impression on me, right? Like you had to be fresh, bro. Like you couldn't go to school without the right sneakers on.
Man.
I mean, that was just, you couldn't hold your head up, bro.
Right.
Like it was that kind of situation. So in an urban environment, anybody that grows up in an urban environment, they understand the equity that comes along with. That's why companies like Nike owe a lot.
Yeah.
They owe a lot to the hood. They owe a lot to urban environments because they built that business.
Fact.
You understand?
Fact.
So that mindset, right or wrong, because we don't know if it's right or wrong. Right. That really left an impact on me as a person. You know what I'm saying? Imagine dating a girl. You it's a negative. It's not happening unless you look right. Right. So
facts.
So you're talking about growing up in that environment and understanding the dynamic of what that was to a kid growing up in that environment. So I carried that with me for the rest of my life.
Okay.
So, growing up in that area, I would see a lot of different stores, like sneaker stores, apparel stores, hat stores, different kind of businesses. And I always looked at those stores. First of all, if you grew up in an urban environment, chances are, your family's not too well off, right? If they were, you'd probably be living in a different area.
That's true.
Right?
That's true.
So a lot of times when I went to those stores, I went, like I was going to a museum, look but don't touch, right? So I saw the impact that those retail locations had on the community. And then I also saw the collective of different businesses that were in there and how they did. One of the stores, to their credit, that I really looked at really closely back then, was a cap store on 5th Avenue and between like 55th and 54th. Shout out to them. It was a Paki guy. He owned this business for a long time. Like, bro, he owned this business since I was like in elementary school.
Wow.
And it's still there.
Here.
Last that I checked, it's still there. So I looked at his store and I was like, damn, like this guy really has some longevity in this. Like imagine owning a business for 30 years, bro. And like you're still doing well. And then he had like 2 locations. I thought it was secure, So I looked at that business. And then when we moved down to Jersey and we opened the business down in Jersey, we can get into that in a different conversation.
Right.
I looked at what was available here to the customer first and what was missing. That kind of business, that headwear business where it was a lifestyle inspired, nobody was doing it. Not like that. And I saw that these guys were, they were doing their thing, to a certain extent, but they missed out on a lot of that. They didn't cater to the lifestyle market.
Okay.
They catered to the casual sports fan. You understand?
Right.
But I feel like they catered to the lifestyle market. They didn't treat the lifestyle market with the care that it needed to be treated. So when I came into this area, I came into this area selling with a different business, I really looked at that with a microscope and said, okay, cool. If we get into this business, if we get into headwear as an initial business, can we do a better job than the people that are doing it? If you can, then you do it. And if you can't, why are you wasting your time?
Right.
Right. So that's kind of how we initially started. I was involved in a different business and I saw an opportunity to bring value to the area by doing that. So that was out of necessity.
Nice.
That's how we started.
And the important part that I like about it is that you found something that was missing in an industry or something like that. You say it was lifestyle. So people was doing it, they were doing hats or whatever, but they were missing the lifestyle part of it. And so you jumped in there and you niched it down to just hats. You ain't go ahead and say off the rip, I'm going to sell hats, socks, clothes, all that. So I think it's important for our people to know that, like, if you're going to get into a business, we say all the time, they say niches bring riches. Yes, you can bring other things into your business later on, but at the beginning, you got to have it focused.
Bro, you're competing against people that have been doing something for 20 years.
Right.
How are you going to compete against that level of craft unless you're taking what they're doing seriously? Like, they're not just going to hand it to you, bro. Like,
nobody's going to hand you nothing.
Nah, you got to really take what they're doing seriously and say, like, look, this guy's been successful to a certain extent.
Right.
I see where he's missing. He's been successful to a certain extent for 20 years, he's got to be doing some things right. Can't be doing everything wrong. You know, I know it's easy to think that, but that's wrong. So in order to do that, in order to bring that level of craft to the situation, you gotta respect the craft.
Yeah.
Right?
There's no need to recreate.
No, you have to learn.
You just gotta,
Humility is a powerful thing. When you enter a situation and say, I don't know, I need to learn as much as I can. And in the process, I need to slim it down and simplify it for myself and my customer. You learn.
Right.
And then you can better it. How you gonna better something you don't know what it is?
Right.
How?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you can have all the ideas in the world about making it this thing, you know, in the future, but you have to learn what the business is initially. Like, I was not a huge sports fan, bro. I had to learn all the leagues, all the sports. It was it was a whole different lifestyle. Like, I was a Knicks fan growing up. Okay. So growing up as a Knicks fan, you don't even want to watch a game because it's depressing. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like, I wasn't really that big of a fan when I started the business. Okay. I'll keep it real with you. I became more of a fan out of the respect for some of the teams that were involved and how much they meant to me in my lifestyle. Right. But I had to learn all that. Sports. Okay. I had to learn about headwear in general, like the sizes, the styles. I had to learn about okay, so when you approach a business, your bias, your internal bias is something that stops you from really looking at the full scope of it. So for example, me growing up in the hood, in a lifestyle market, what was my focus? My focus was lifestyle trend. So for example, lifestyle trend would be like snapback hats. You know, at the time when we first took off, that was like a big deal. Right. But I didn't pay that much attention to the fan customer product. So I had to learn a lot more about that. You know, come to find out, fan customer is the biggest business because they're consistent. Trend comes up and down, but that's your consistent thing. Right. You understand? Yeah. So in order for you to be successful at something, you got to take advantage of trend and lifestyle, but you also have to understand the core market of a business is fan. So in the headwear business specifically, there's different categories of products that people wear. What you wear is not what the guy that's coaching the Little League team is going to wear. Okay. So I'm not trying to cater to just lifestyle. I'm trying to cater to the market. So I had to learn about that, the different customer, what product they were looking for. I actually did my research on it, and I come to find out the biggest selling silhouette is not a fitted or a snapback hat. It was actually a 39-30 flex fit hat. I came to find out that was the biggest selling hat. I'm like, who the hell is buying this? And come to find out that it sells the most because the fan customer is the core of the business. Exactly. You understand?
Yeah. Market research, man. Yeah. Market research.
100. It's important.
Definitely important. Yeah. Like, you can't just go into a business and not do the market research. Who's the audience? What does that audience look like? Who is it? That one person? I always tell people you got to find that one person in the market that you're going to serve to. Who is this person? What's their age? What do they do? What is that market research that you're doing? And most people skip that step. You know, they just want to jump right in and don't put in the work of learning, man.
You're not committed to the craft. Yeah. You're not. If you're not going to be committed to the craft, you're not going to succeed, bro.
That's true.
You know, if you're not willing to do the research beforehand, you lost before you started. Yeah. Honestly. You know what I'm saying? So for me, that was just what needed to be done. Prerequisites to doing this. You can't ask, man, when you start a business, when you start a business, your family has to be willing to support your decision.
Important.
Yeah. So all of the sacrifices that you make, the late nights, right? The times where people are doing their thing and you got to work, the weekends, the family gatherings, those are sacrifices, bro, that you need to make. Your significant other and your family has to understand and support those. Yeah. If they can't get behind you because they don't think you doing it right or you treating it with the level of respect that it needs, how are you going to be successful? They're going to be in your ear every day talking about,
yeah, man, you're wasting your time.
You're wasting your time. Go do something else.
We need you over here.
Yeah. So here's another thing we need to think about as future entrepreneurs. If your family and friends are thinking that, I want you to ask yourself an honest question. Are you giving them every reason to not think that?
Wow.
Are you showing them that you're serious about yourself, that you're dedicated to your craft, that you're doing the research, that you understand it, that you've taken the time to understand the minute details of branding, of lettering, quantity of letters, how it's going to be received by search engines and people? Are you really doing that? Wow. If you're not doing that, how are you going to ask them to commit to your lifestyle? When somebody marries an entrepreneur, they become a pseudo entrepreneur.
Okay.
Right?
That's true.
Because they got to deal with your bullshit.
It's automatic.
Yeah.
It's automatic. You got to deal with me.
Bro,
my long nights.
My wife last night was with me we was doing like accounting till 5 a.m. Last night.
Yeah.
Me and her, both of us, for like 15 hours a piece. How are you going to ask somebody to commit to that if they don't view you as a serious person when it comes to your craft? The research is the minimum that you should be doing. It's a prerequisite to entering the market. You cannot do that. You cannot enter the market. It's like the toll that you pay. You just can't come in.
Wow.
Straight up.
So how many years have you been in business, man?
Bro, I feel like I'm going to keep it real with you, bro. I feel like I've been doing this since I was born.
Wow.
Yo, you know that guy, No Jumper?
Yeah. You know that from Martin, right?
No Jumper. No, the podcast guy.
Okay, yeah.
He got I seen a couple of his episodes.
No Jumper.
He got a show called No Jumper.
No Jumper.
I'm the No Jumper.
Okay.
I don't got a jumper. I can't play no instruments. You understand? So I'm not musically inclined. I'm not artistically inclined. I can't draw. And I'm dyslexic. Okay. You understand?
Right.
So I'm crossing off a lot of things that I can't do right now. You know what I mean? So I had to be great at something. I had to be good at something first in order for me to be great at something. So growing up, my father was always involved. He worked for somebody for a while, and then he would have like a flea market hustle. Okay. You know Africans, bro. Yeah. We're African, not African.
You're right.
You understand? So what he did was, he worked for somebody. He had this little side hustle, and he would wake me up at like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, get a truck. I'm talking about, I was like 10. And he'd be like, yo, get in the truck. We're going to the flea market. Let's go. And the best part of the day for me was we got a coffee and a croissant. You know what I'm saying? We was fancy. From like the 3rd Avenue Poppy store. Right. The 4th Avenue Poppy store. We would get a coffee and a croissant. That was the highlight of the day, bro. At 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning. Load the truck, get the coffee, head to the flea market, work outside all day in the sun, come back, do it again all weekend long. And I saw the hustle from like the beginning stages of what it took to make something work. My father saved enough money to where he could then open a business in our neighborhood. So I lived on 55th. He opened a business on 72nd in 5th Avenue. So about a mile away. Okay. Right. Like in close to our neighborhood. And when he opened a business, I opened the business. So he would make me come to the store regularly, bro. So it was like me getting a graduate's degree at like 12, 13 years old on business. Like he would do crazy shit, bro. Like the guy was a marketing genius. Nice. Straight up. I swear to God. He would do crazy shit like one day we was in the store and he was like, he gave me $1. This is after the store was built. He gave me $1. You get a couple dollars and he was like, go buy some old newspapers. I'm like, why do you need old? Don't ask me questions. Just go get the newspapers. I took the money, went to go get the newspapers. He's like, go get a pair of scissors. So he's like, start cutting up the newspaper. Start cutting up the newspapers. He's like, throw them all over the floor. I'm like, why? He's like, I told you don't. Just do what I asked you. Just do it. Yeah. Again, my father's Middle Eastern family. Right. You're not supposed to ask any question. Just do what I asked you to do. It's true. Cut the newspapers up. Throw them all over the floor. I'm like, damn, bro, I got to clean this joint when he's done with this. I don't want to do this. So he's like, come on, hurry up. Clean, cut them up, throw them all over. He's like, all right, cool. Now go sit behind the counter. I went and sit behind the counter. I start seeing customers walk by like, yo, what the hell's going on in there, bro? Something's going on in there. There was nobody, just me and him. So like me and him are sitting in the store. There's no customers in there. So he's like coming up with these creative like schemes
ways to get people to look in there
on how to get a customer in the door, and people start looking in and they say, what the hell's going on? They walk in and they see all this newspapers on the floor. They think commotion going on, and it's like, oh shit, you sell batteries? oh shit, you sell cassettes? I didn't know. Wait, you have chargers in here? You have stereo equipment in here? I didn't even know that.
Just get them in here.
Bro, my father was like, homie was lethal at like marketing, like grassroots marketing. Another time, he had these windows in the front of the store, and he would like, this guy was like, you watching him put together a window, like a front store window, was like watching an artist work. Like straight up. He would come get all this construction paper, like wild colors, make his signs. Like it was a craft. Okay. I watched it. And he would do shit like he would put like a clock upside down in the window. And a customer walked in one day and she said, yo, your clock is upside down.
Right.
He's like, all right, thank you. She left. I'm like, yo, you want me to go turn the clock up, the right side up? He's like, nah, leave it in. Next customer come, your clock is upside down oh shit, you got batteries in here? You got tapes in here?
Right.
You got chargers in here? And this is how his mind worked.
Do stuff to get them in.
Yeah, bro. He's like, I learned so much about just how to engage people without before speaking to them, and the power of just creative marketing from this guy that's like, he came to this country not knowing how to speak any English, opened a business, and had to find a way to feed his 4 kids.
Right.
So, I'm lucky, bro. I'm not going to lie, man. I grew up in an environment where, I had my father really educate me on those things. I think early in life, you don't really understand or appreciate the value of that. You think you're being punished because you're putting time into.
Man.
Bro,
we learned that, man.
Yeah.
We learned that. 'Cause even myself, man, like I had to learn some of that. Like, damn, all these years my dad was tough on me.
Yeah.
That's like, those are the value that we're living by now.
Yeah.
Living by it.
There was setting the stage. It was planting the seeds, bro.
Right. Because they've been through it.
Yeah.
They've been through it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And what type of leader would they be if they don't guide you through the path that not only did they go through, but they know that, okay, I went through this way. This is what worked. And this is what didn't work. So don't go that way. But still, we always want to touch the fire.
I think that's the job of a parent.
Yeah.
To set he's supposed to set the seeds and let the situation flourish. One of the most important things I'm going to say that my father taught me above anything else was character. Character. Like the type of character that you have when things are going wrong, and how you treat your family and friends and your partners when things did not work out, because that business ended up not working out for him.
Right.
He ended up losing a lot of money, but he maintained his character. He did not do wrong when it was easy to do wrong. That was, and I at the time I was young, dumb. I didn't understand, like, bro, like, you got to do whatever. You know, like I was that. You got to do whatever, And in his mind, he was like, nah, you don't do whatever. You do what needs to be done, and you maintain your character. That was, at first, growing up, I thought the most important lesson was his sales ability. The older I get, the more I understand that his character, what he did when people were not looking. That was, I can honestly say, bro, like, the man has character. Not because of my father, because I have family members that got zero character. I'll keep it real with you. Yeah. And if they did, I would say they have zero character, know? But the quality of, just the integrity that he kept during times where things were difficult, that taught me a lot, And then you're just a sales. This guy is, he's a beast, bro. Okay. In terms of sales.
So what would you say is the most important character to have as an entrepreneur, a business owner? Yeah, what do you consider one of the most important characters as a business owner?
You gotta be thick-skinned, bro. You gotta be resilient. Okay? If everything that happens to you breaks you down inside, you're done before you started. Yeah. You gotta be tough. Internal fortitude, bro. Think about it. Think about all the stuff that you do that fails. Mm-hmm. If you sit there and linger about everything that happened to you that did not go your way, how much time and energy are you spending doing what works? You're not, right? So like the conversation me and you had earlier, right?
Right.
Retail was not working out the way you expected, you anticipated, whatever the case may be.
Yep.
This happened to me. It's happened to a lot of business owners. Their first retail experience is not usually a good one, by the way. That happened to the Subways guy. You know, Subways, he opened a second one just to prop the first one up.
Yeah.
So I think being resilient is, you got to be resilient, bro.
Got to be tough, man.
Yeah. And then I must say sales. If you can't sell people on why they need to believe in you, then you ain't gonna make it. Straight up. I'm just keeping it real. You got to be able to sell. Now, when I say sell, am I talking about like ShamWow? Sell? Like buy now.
Right.
You know? That's not what I'm talking
Force
about.
it on there.
No, you got to believe in your trajectory and sell your trajectory to the people that you bang with. If you cannot do that, and what I'm saying is like that you got to sell your wife.
Okay.
You got to sell her father. Yeah. Your father-in-law. You got to sell her mother, right? Because they're looking at like the decisions that you're making on whether or not you're gonna be having a stable lifestyle for their grandchildren.
Their child,
and their child and their grandchildren. You got to sell you got to make the case. They don't have to buy, but you have to make the case so solid, and you have to be so self-assured that you're able to project that to banks, to partners, to people that view your business in a way that they think there's value there. You have to be able to sell, right?
Yeah.
Selling,
trust.
Yeah. Selling is not, I'm not talking about selling people something that they don't want. I'm talking about selling your brand image, whatever that is, to the world. If you can't do that, I struggle to find out how you're going to be able to be successful.
Yeah.
I just don't know how you're going to do it. Like, I just, I'm going to say that that's probably one of the most important, attributes. My father was a very strong salesman. I say was, he still works with me. He works in Berlin with us in the business, but his sales skill was like, and it was honest. You know what I'm saying?
It's important.
Yeah, you know how some salespeople can be like sleazy, bro. Like they're just telling you what the hell you want to hear.
Tell them what they want to hear to get that commission and all that.
I seen them straight up insult people, straight up like say things that were like not, but they knew it was right and it was true. Not insult them, like belittle and make them feel bad, but like tell them like, this is what it is.
Right.
You should know that. You need to know that this is what it. Like for example, your Rodecaster Pro, like you're 100% committed to this piece of technology.
Yeah.
If somebody comes to you and they're like, yo, this is better, and you're selling that, you need to educate them. Yeah. And he would educate, bro.
That's the important part. You got it. Especially in today's world, we have to educate our customers.
Yes.
We have to. That's why content is important.
Yes.
Because how can I, like you selling this cup.
Yes.
But I don't really know what this cup really does. Is it like the same as the other cup that I can just pour water in?
Yes.
Like what makes your cup or the lid on your cup different from something else? You have to educate me.
You have to educate him.
You mean? And that's like providing that content, having that conversation with me, educating me on what that product is.
So I said insult. People would take insult to it because of his conviction, but they would respect the fact that he had conviction in what it is that he was doing.
Okay.
So if he thought that Rodecaster Pro was it, he was going to tell you and educate you whether you liked it or not. And because of that, they would walk away and they're kind of annoyed and come back and be like, oh, here's a 600. Let me get this.
Let me get that thing real quick.
They would be upset too. I'd be looking at ring him up on the register, just looking at him. He's like, yeah, that's how you do it,
Yeah.
So he was, he's like that, bro. So I got a first class education in that side of things. Granted, I'm like the worst student ever.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like academically, I'm just not a good student. But I got like real world experience, like apprenticeship. And my experience happened to come from my father. So I was fortunate to have that. Not a lot of people have that. So
right.
Yeah.
That's important, man. It's important. You got to have a role model in business or a mentor in business. A lot of people now, we're so quick to say that, oh, it's not working. It ain't work. Or like, it just, oh, I give up. But I think what needs to happen, you need to find someone that have been through it, that knows that it worked, and you find out why it's not working for you because it works. Other people they've done it. I mean,
that comes with a level of humility.
Yeah.
Too. Right?
Yeah, definitely.
Think about you as a businessman, right? You got your own business,
right?
Garment Creations, right? How hard is it for some people to just say, look, man, I don't know. Like, this is what it is. Like, I'd like to pick your brain. Humility is a powerful thing, bro.
Man.
Right?
Man.
When somebody comes to you like that, it's hard for you to say no.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
When your first step is humility. Most deals that I've seen that people did not get what they wanted to get was because they didn't approach the situation with a level of humility. You understand?
Right.
Now, don't confuse humility with not understanding your value. That's not what I mean.
Okay.
Right? Because humility can be used against you if you're not using it correctly, if you're not viewing it correctly.
Exactly.
I'm talking about strictly humility in a scenario. So, for example, right? When you approach, when I wanted to look into this podcasting thing, because I built this room specifically to do this.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm not on the Joe Rogan wave.
Right.
Like, I've been knowing that this was a thing. Right? I have a soundproof built out room that's 2 years old.
It's nice too.
Yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate it. So when I wanted to do this, I'm not an audio engineer. That's not my gift. Bro.
Right.
Like, I can't pretend to be that. It's not who I am. So I reached out to you. You know, credit to you. You understand the value and what it is that we're building.
Yeah.
And you look at the past and the future. You're not a dumb dude. So you see all that and you're like, yeah, listen, yeah, this could work.
Yeah.
You understand?
Definitely.
A lot of people shortchange their own hustle. Right? I'll give you another example. I've had relationships with people where I'm like, listen, we want to build this. Let's be involved. Right? And they're like, all right, cool. So what is the work that's involved? And I'll list the work that we need to get done. And I'm like, listen, this is what I can afford to pay you for this right now, because this is a budding enterprise for us. Okay. It's in the beginning stages of being something, right? In terms of that project.
Okay.
Right? And I'll say, look, this is what I can afford to pay you. In my mind, I'm thinking, I'm going to pay them this much. If they're committed, we're going to take it to this level. You get me?
Yeah.
We have to take it to this level because nobody's going to sit there and work for this. It's not going to make no sense.
Right.
But eventually, if they're smart enough to commit, we're going to build quick, right? Like 6 months down the line, we'll be at this level. I'm already thinking like 6 months along. They're so stuck on that initial offer that they can't even see past that. Their vision is so skewed because their priorities are fucked up.
Not long term.
They're already thinking like, well, they have different priorities. They're thinking, I got to do this with my time. I got to do this with my time. But they're not thinking, this could be bigger than anything that I'm doing. I have to pay attention. I have to respect it because let me do my research, figure out if this is something to respect or not.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So they screw up those like situations. They screw up those relationships because they don't understand. The beginning is always the beginning. It's always the lowest beginning of the story. It's not where it ends. And you know, and I know as business owners, we're always going to find an answer to what we need to do. Ain't nobody stopping that.
Nope.
Yeah. So like if I saw a post on 50, I follow 50 on Instagram.
Okay.
Dude, that dude is crazy. I follow 50 on Instagram. I'm like, I saw a post. He said, okay, you can help me do it or you can watch me do it. Pick one. Right?
That says a lot.
That's a strong statement.
That says a lot.
Yeah. So not to be arrogant or, that's not the point. This is arrogance and confidence are different, right? I'm going to do it.
Right.
Now you can start and we can start together and we don't know where it's going to lead.
Right.
Like I explained to you the Phil situation where he started as an employee and he's now a partner. Why does not, my question is this, people don't think about things like that. Like, yo, shit, you don't know where something's starting, where it's going to end. You don't. So as long as you trust your heart and say like, look, this is somebody I want to work with because I feel like they're committed and they have the resources to do it. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like people overvalue their time. You know how like we're taught to value our time?
Right.
Not everybody's time is that valuable, bro. Real talk.
Not.
Right?
That's the truth.
It just really is. Some people's time, most of it is wasted. Honestly. They're playing video games or doing whatever the hell they do. They're not really committed to anything.
Right.
So somebody offers you something and you feel like, yo, these people are on something. We could build something together, but they won't jump on that opportunity. So what ends up happening is that window closes and we find an intern to do their job.
Yeah.
And the intern is like, this situation happened already.
Wow.
The intern is like, yeah, when can I start? I'm like, yo, this is what we're going to do. And they're like, wow. When can I start? Perspective is
That's it.
Perspective is a motherfucker, bro.
Like, when can I start?
Yeah, and it just those themes occur regularly, bro.
Wow.
Don't shortchange your hustle.
Don't shortchange your hustle, guys. You hear that?
Bro,
don't shortchange your hustle, man.
It's incredibly important. For a couple $100, why would you alienate a relationship? What the hell?
Right. Like we was talking earlier.
Look. If who you're dealing with, right? Maybe a couple thousand.
Right.
Okay, here's another way to view it, right? If who you're dealing with is worth more than that amount of money, fuck the money.
The relationship.
Fuck the money. Forget it. Shelf that shit. Think about what the relationship is and whether or not it's more valuable than that dollar amount.
Fact.
Right?
Facts.
So that person's only thinking about the dollar amount. You can already see. They're not even seeing they're not digging behind like, yo, tell me the vision. Like, what is it? They're only thinking, I'm going to get this much money to do this much work.
Yeah.
And that's it. But they're not, that's already the wrong person for the job because they're not committed. That intern is more committed than they are. Right?
Yeah.
They're willing to do it for free.
Yeah. They just want to put their foot in.
For freedom. You understand me? Like for free. So imagine, I don't know. I think a lot of people have perspectives different. I don't know how people feel about internship programs and stuff like that. I think they're amazing, bro. Real talk. You talking about mentorship. You talking about building with somebody. You talking about building your own job before it's there. I love it. Real talk. I love it. I love what it means if it's used correctly and fairly. Right? If you're offering real opportunity, real knowledge, if you're really kicking game to somebody, an internship, it's amazing. You should definitely, matter of fact, my daughters, when they get to a certain stage in their life, I'm going to tell them get an internship before a job. Think about the level of contacts that you make.
Right.
Okay. I like to read certain, not just business books, but like all kinds of books. And real talk, I don't even read them anymore. I listen to the audiobooks. One of the books that I did read was that Steve Jobs book. Did you read that?
No.
It's a great read. When you get a chance, check it out. It's not like a bland or boring read. He's like, when he came back to Apple the second time, he told him, I don't want no money. Imagine the flex on that. You understand me?
Right.
He was like, they were like, okay, cool. What are you talking about salary? He's like, I don't want no money. I'm gonna build this company back up from where y'all threw me out. I don't need no money. I always felt like that was the biggest flex.
Okay.
You understand me?
Yeah.
Because now all of a sudden everybody in the room is getting paid and you're not, and you're doing the job. You understand me? So you look at interns have a sense of power that they don't materialize. When you're committed in an internship level, whether it's paid or unpaid, whatever, you're already like your expectations from the employer are already better.
Okay.
Because you're committing.
You're committed.
At your time to do something to help build this business. You're the first one for the job. This kid that I'm hiring to do that internship for some of the stuff that we're doing, bro, the job becomes available. He puts 6 months into this. It's his. Straight up. It's his. I'm taking care of him. Why?
Commitment.
Yeah, because he put 6 months of time into, maybe he put like 10, 20 hours a week, whatever. But he did it. And you got people that are willing to be paid for it and they don't do it.
They don't do it.
That's crazy,
They
right?
don't do it. Yeah, it is crazy because it's just like most people say all the time, like you should do it free. It's like that free for win type thing. It's just like to really show someone that you're committed. If you're willing to do it for free, they're watching. I mean, they're watching, they're taking notes, And eventually, they're going to give you something for that. If it's that job or whatever it is. If you're doing it for free, someone's going to pay you to do it.
Let me just clarify that, because I know I'm going to catch some heat at some point for this statement, right? So be decisive and smart about where you're giving your time to. Okay? Because your time is valuable. Because people are going to, oh, my time is valuable. My time is valuable. You know.
Of course.
Meanwhile, you know, it's Netflix and chill.
Right.
Come on now. Right? So let me clarify that statement by saying this. Be decisive and thoughtful about where you give that time to, because your time is valuable. But understand that there are things that are worth more than money. They are. If you're in business to succeed and to do better, you must understand that principle. If you do not understand that principle, you're already lost, bro. Like,
wow.
There's so many things that I don't even think about money when I do it. Matter of fact, it's on the last list of my mind. Yeah. I lose on a lot of different scenarios because money is not the number one motivator. Building something is. So money. Yeah. So, you know, I take a scenario where it's a loss leader. I already know. But, you know, we do it anyways.
Yeah. It's a part of business, man.
Yeah.
It's a part of business. And most people are they're scared, you know? They're scared. So let's talk a little bit about fear with business, man. Let's talk a little bit about fear.
That's important.
Like fear and failure. Okay, like as a business owner, and I know you've been doing it for years, and what was your biggest failure? And how did you learn from that? Or what did that lead to as a business owner than where you're at now?
So failure is actually one of the most important assets you can have, right?
Right.
If you fear nothing, you're a dangerous person. You understand? Because you can make a mistake, you know? It has its good, it has its bad, but let's keep it real. Most people have fear.
Yeah.
Right? So fear is actually a great motivator.
Fear is a motivator.
It's a fucking motivator.
Yeah.
Think about it. Think about how many things in life you fear losing if you make a mistake. It's a motive. It will motivate you to get your ass up and get things done. Right?
That's for sure.
So I don't look at fear as a bad thing. I just know how to manage it.
Ooh.
I view what I do with a certain level of fear, but I understand that that's part of the DNA of building. I don't let fear take advantage of me or make me emotional and illogical. I look at it like I'm supposed to feel that way.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So let's say, for example, you know, we're in our 30s now, so we're not young bucks anymore. Like we're like middle-aged bucks.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's say, for example, you know, we start a business, we're in our mid-30s, and it's time for us. You know, we have to succeed. It's not like you're not 20s where you got internships.
Yeah, you ain't testing the waters at this point.
Nah. There's no practice. No. You're out there to hit the ball out the ball out the stadium. You're out there to score every time, right? So when you view your 30s like that, you know, there's a certain level of pressure and fear that's built into it. So everything that you do, you in the back of your mind, you think, I got no time to waste here, right? That's a motivator. That's not a bad thing.
Right.
That's something that you should be using regularly. If you don't fear your family being destitute, shit, man. What the fuck do you feel? What do you fear? Honestly.
For real.
You should fear that.
For real.
So that should motivate you to motivate your staff. Look, I told you before, like you're in an amazing situation where you're right now, you're so nimble. You're like a jet ski. You get in the ocean, you just boom, 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 boom. You do what the fuck you want.
Right.
Nobody can tell you shit, right? The bigger your organization gets, because it will get bigger. I know it will get bigger. The bigger your organization gets, the more you're gonna see you become like a boat. It's a little bit harder to make that turn because so many people on the boat. Man, you can't just pump that left, pump that right when the wave hits, and maybe you get to a point where you're like a ferry. Got a couple people on this boat, man. I can't just pull that
left. A little more strategic with your turns.
Hell yeah, because you turn, you flip the goddamn boat. Yeah. So, or you get to a point where you're like like one of those big fishing boats. I'm not a boat guy, like big ass fishing boats, right? You're not turning unless you're giving signals. It's 30 minutes a turn. You understand what I'm saying? That's why a lot of corporations, they don't move like us. They don't get on trend because they're a big boat. Think about how long it takes them to turn and pivot in those scenarios.
Right.
Yeah. So I feel like your fear right now is only you. When you have fear, you pivot. It motivates you. How do you instill that same level of motivation and pivot in a staff or a boat of 15? How?
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
It's not their money on the line, bro.
Uh-uh.
Yeah. So like, no matter what you do with them, their fear is limited to their job, bro. Like, that's hard. You understand?
Yeah.
For me, that's difficult, to do. So like, if you fail, your company fails, right? You have to be able to create an organization where people are so invested that they don't want you to fail because they feel like they're losing.
Wow.
That's hard.
Yeah.
That's fucking hard, man. That's really, really hard to do. Anybody that tells you that's easy is just not being honest with you, So I don't know. Fear to me is positive. It's positive. I know how to mitigate, manage. I know how to deal with it. I need to learn how to better compartmentalize that product, that energy into staff as well, without making them feel fearful of their job. They need to have a certain level of fear, but not the negative type. Not like, I'm gonna fire you if you don't, that's not gonna work, bro.
It's not comfortable.
No, that's not gonna work, bro. And they're not gonna want to come to work like that. They need to come to work in a scenario where they're like, if we fail, then I don't achieve my personal goals as well. So therefore I fear failure. So therefore I have to do the best that I can do. That's harder to do.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's the road that I'm in my life right now. Like building a company culture where people understand that they have something to lose. It's not just me. They are also going to lose. And I think the greatest companies in the world, they do an amazing job of that. You think like the guy from Apple, the industrial designer, Ives, Johnny Ives, I think it is.
Yeah.
You think he thinks that's not him? But I'm sure he goes up every time. I don't think he works for the company anymore. I think he's a consultant now. But if you're an industrial designer, you're the marketing head, that's your company.
That's yours.
That's fucking yours, man. You sit in that chair, you feel like it's yours. Everybody on that table, that's no longer you Inc. It's now all of us Inc. That's hard. That's the conversation me and you had the other day about the difference between a single sole proprietorship and a corporation or a cooperation. The difference is understanding the motivations of people and getting all of their strengths to work in one favor. That's difficult to do. That's the reason why corporations work.
Right.
Because that's an amazing thing to succeed at. Okay. You're amazing at content, right?
Right.
I see it. You're very, very good at taking content and finding a way to monetize that. Right? That's your strength, bro.
Appreciate that. Yeah.
That's the truth.
Right.
So you may not be great at company direction. That could be somebody else's strength. Running the actual business, right? Or you may not be great at production. Like you do garment creations, you sample, you show people.
Yeah.
But that may not be what you're great at, bro. You may not line up every shirt correct, cut every vinyl piece correct. You may not have the patience for it.
True.
Organize all the designs correctly. That may not be your strength. You get a guy like you in the room, a guy that can lead a company in the room, a guy like that's a production manager in the room, a guy that's an online. Now you have a cooperation.
Wow.
Or a corporation. Now you have something. That's something else. That's why people hate corporations, but at the same time, they run the world.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because they're a cooperation. It's something else. That's a great question, bro. I think that fear is one of the biggest motivators, fear and love. I think love has to be the stronger of the two. But fear is one of the biggest motivators in the world. Right?
Yeah, definitely.
It gets people to vote. Yeah.
Gets them to make moves. You know?
This is a business podcast. We're not going that direction, boy. Business.
Yes.
This is actually a lifestyle podcast.
Yeah, so it is, man. Just lifestyle. Just trying to have conversation that would better a lifestyle.
What do you think? What do you feel like for you right now was one of the biggest challenges? Like, how do you manage? Let me ask you the question: how do you manage fear? How do you deal with fear? Because you started this company and like the spotlight is on you.
Right.
So how do you deal with that?
So managing fear for me, it's basically some of the things you said. It motivates me to go harder.
Yeah.
Because I have people that's depending on me that I don't have the opportunity to fail or to be scared to make moves that would better up the situation for myself and anybody else that's looking at me and that's following me. You know, so when it comes to managing it, I tell my wife all the time, it's very hard for me to just sit here and stress on something because I know what I need to do to make that thing better. You know, so it takes it's a mentality thing. I feel with fear for me, it's a lot of people they lose the battle in their minds first. It's like, yeah, fear, these 4-letter words, everybody say it, it's I'm supposed to be scared. Yeah, it's something to like, I don't feel like to scare you where you go in the corner and cry. It's to scare you so you get up and make the move that you need to make. And that's how I look at fear. You know, let somebody tell me, hey man, you got 30 days to move out. You think I'm just going to sit in the corner and be scared? No, I'm going to spend those 30 days and see what I need to do to better that situation.
Yeah.
So that when that time come up, I'm in a better situation to move forward.
It's fight or flight.
Yeah.
So I want to tell you one story real quick, not to cut you off, but one story. I'll try to make it short because sometimes I'm long-winded. So one story that I heard it's amazing. So there's this general, right? He's leading an army into battle, right? And they're all on boats and they're coming to shore.
Mm-hmm.
They get to the shore. He goes on the boats and lights them all on fire while the troops are on shore, of course, right? So they're like, what are you doing? How are we going to leave? He's like, we don't.
Mm.
They're like, what do you mean? He's like, either we win or we die.
Wow.
Yeah. Fear is a fucking motivator, bro.
Yeah.
It is, if used correctly. In a company environment, there's a thin line between motivational, baked into the cake, I'm going to lose.
Mm-hmm.
I need to do because I'm going to lose. And I fear for my job every day. I don't know. I don't want to work like that, bro.
Right.
I don't want to work like that. I want people. Honestly, if anybody in the organization feels like I fear for my job, they're probably not. They're not the right fit.
They're not.
Yeah, and the company is not the right.
Culture is not. It's not fitting.
It's both. Sometimes. Yeah. Sometimes it's the company culture, and sometimes it's that person projecting that insecurity because they're not doing what they're supposed to do. Right.
True.
So sometimes you got an employee. They know what they're supposed to do. Right. They have like a job to do every day, and they know that you're not checking in with them every 5 minutes. So they know that they're kind of skirting it, doing the very bare minimum. So they're always thinking, I don't want to get fired.
Right.
But reality of it is sometimes you're the issue and the problem. Sometimes it's just the company culture, bro. You know, you're in the wrong organization. You're not the right fit.
Right.
I feel like we've gotten so much better as a business about just saying like, look, this is not a good fit for you and for us. You know what I'm saying?
It's true.
I feel like that has to be done like fast.
You got to do it fast.
Don't waste their time. Don't waste your time.
Yeah, that's the important part. It's like Radical Candor is a book that I had to read. My last job I had, it had all the managers read that book. It's basically how to lead people radically, like basically not being around the bush and telling this person, oh, you're doing great. Man, you did so good at that.
False admiration.
Right. But then one day this person don't do something right. All of a sudden, you like, yeah, you know what? Yeah, I think it's time for us to part ways.
Yeah.
Radical Candor. Like, so all these years or these months you've been telling me I'm doing great. I'm not doing good.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden now you got to cut throat because I did this thing wrong already. So it's like, instead of just keeping those people around, you just got to get rid of them.
Sure.
And find someone else that can do the job to keep the job moving.
It's mutually beneficial.
Yeah.
You're not happy either.
No, you're not.
It's mutually beneficial. If you're at a job and you feel fearful every day, I don't know, bro. Like, who the hell wants to live like that, man? I can't imagine coming to work every day.
Yeah, I'm going again.
Yeah. Shit, could this be my last day? Like,
man.
Come on now. Like, that's not. We're very, very fortunate in the United States. You know, we talked about us having the same, story where we both came from Africa.
Yeah.
Right. So we have so many options as employees in this country. You don't have to work for somebody. Like, you will be okay. You know what I'm saying?
Tell them again.
Honestly.
Man, you will be okay.
Yeah, you'll be fine. But will you be better off? And who's the real, you got to audit yourself. Mm-hmm. Who's the problem in this scenario? How many people are really doing that, self-reflecting? I don't know, right? Like, how many people step back and say, you know what? My manager's kind of like, he's an asshole, but you know what? I miss my deadlines. I don't get my shit done. It's kind of like I drag my feet.
Right.
I don't bring anything innovative to the table. Okay, maybe he needs to be an asshole to get to you. Like,
takes two, right?
Yeah. Or, you'll always find something else, but you have to have some kind of self-audit, right? Mm-hmm. I think I sit in a very interesting place right now. I see it on both sides. So I think initially I only saw it one way or another, but now I see it on both sides.
Wow.
Employees have to feel like they're going to achieve their life goals, their personal goals, because business goals may not be a priority for them.
Right.
They may not want to build this mega thing. They may not want to do this, that, or the next thing. They may just want to buy a house. They might just want to buy a new car. Mm-hmm. They may want to get married and pay for their wedding. And that's the level of ambition, and that's fine. Also, here's a common mistake that business owners make. We look at people's goals from a bird's eye view. Okay? So like, for example, I want to build a business. That's I enjoy that. That's my passion in life.
Yeah.
Right? So you hire somebody and you start, they don't share those ambitions. So you're quick to judge them. I think the better question for me in my life at this point is, what the hell is your goal? What is it that you want to do, bro? Yeah. Right?
You got to ask that.
Yeah. So you want to create music? So you're creative? Mm-hmm. Okay, wonderful. Well, we got a podcast. Yeah. Right? Right? Give me 60% of the time while you do this, I'll give you 40% where you can do what you want to do, which is create music or create audio experience. Yeah. Right? You gotta find out what they're
passionate about and put them in that position, or build that within the business somewhere. And like, when I was working for a corporation and all that, and every time I interview someone, always one of the questions, what are your goals? Yeah. What do you see yourself in this company? Where do you see yourself in this company? Let me know. What are you passionate about? Yeah. And from those questions, you'll find out like, hey, this might be like, this is a software company, but I'm not into writing codes. Yeah. But I'm good at talking about the software. So I'm a good speaker, or I can market this thing right. But instead of you hiring this person to be that coder, this person is good at this other thing. Yeah. Do you have the other thing now? Yeah. You don't. Yeah. All right. So how can you build that for this person to be comfortable? Because clearly there's value in this person. Yeah. So we have to like,
how do you mine it?
Yeah.
How do you mine it? Yeah. That's my level right now. That's where, you know what I'm saying? As somebody that leads a company, that's the way I think right now. How do I mine that talent for the best possible application? Yeah. And then how do I make them understand that there's mobility, there's a future? You have to show them those things.
They do.
And I don't care who they are. They want to know it.
They want to know.
They want to know that if they work for McDonald's, that they can become a manager.
It's their growth in here.
They want to know. They want to know. Growth. It doesn't matter who they are and where they're at their life. You I think your company culture has to project that and also be smart enough to recognize when something, instead of instilling fear, when something is not working and where those people are best used, right?
It starts with a conversation, man. You got to conversate with them.
So you see the poster on the wall over there, right?
Yeah.
That's from Apple's Think Different campaign. That's an original poster.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've sourced that poster from that Think Different campaign because I felt like that campaign was so strong. You know, they really projected a brand image that people migrated towards. Apple, as a technology company, what they did well was they appealed to the creative. They found the way to appeal to the creative in a way that was received well. You ever see the Think Different campaign ad?
I'm not sure, possibly.
Yeah. So I watch. I'm a nerd, bro. So I watch like different ads and stuff.
Yeah.
I watch like the best ads, like which one was the most effective ad in the world. Like I love that shit.
That's how you gotta think, because you want to implement.
I love it, bro. I love it. So like I watched the ad on like their number one ad is actually not that. It's the one where they're sitting in a stadium, and it's the 1984, I think it is, where the lady throws the hammer into the screen. But the reason why I brought him up was he has a quote that says, if you judge a fish, right? If you judge a fish out of water by how it can walk or how it can run, who's wrong, the fish or the, right? So I'm fucking the whole quote up, but the premise of the quote is a fish excels in the water, not on the land.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, don't judge a fish by how it can be eloquently speaking. That's not what fish do. So if you're judging the fish in the wrong way, who's the problem?
Right.
That's the way I view things right now.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
It's hard, bro. It's life, man. It comes with a lot of punches in the face, bro. A lot of setting expectations on people and them not achieving those expectations, seeing the overall, like, how good they can be or how great that they can be. Because I do that a lot. I project what I think that they're going to be instead of seeing who they are right now. That's hard. That's hard because business owners typically look at the future.
Yeah.
But they don't look at now. Like, what is this person now? What are their goals now? Yeah.
Look at the now.
Yeah. Look at what they're about now. Because they're going to tell you, bro. Like the other day, me and you were talking about hiring and how, you know, that's not always the easiest thing.
Right.
Let them speak. They'll tell you everything you need to know. My trouble is shutting my mouth long enough for them to tell me
tell you, right?
everything. But if you close your mouth and just give them the room to speak,
just listen.
They'll tell you.
Yeah.
They'll tell you everything, bro. Like, they'll tell you what they like, what they don't like, if they're a good fit, if their value system works with yours or not, if they're trying to build or if they're just trying to job. Right now, I just want a job, right? Mm-hmm. If they say things like, I just want a job.
Just want a job right now. I don't want no commitment.
Exactly.
Yeah. I used to get a lot of those. Like, whenever there's an opportunity and you approach someone in the company, it's like, hey, man, I see that you're a great fit for this, man. Like, I got this great management role. I think you'll be great in it. It's like, nah, man, I don't think that's for me, man. I just want a job. Like, I'm just here. I don't want no responsibility. I just want to come and go, you know, like, I don't have the time. Like, they would tell you.
Are they useful, those kind of people, or no?
Are they useful? I mean, clearly, yeah, they're useful. They're definitely useful because the fact that they were doing something so great that I seen the opportunity for them to move higher, they're clearly a use of where they're at now. They just don't see themselves as that. And most of the time, you got to make it as plain as possible to them.
Yeah.
Okay. It's just like showing people how to use the thing that we talked about earlier. You have to show them how they can be of value to this company or even themselves.
Yeah.
If they were to just step out of that comfort zone. I mean, it's a real scenario I'm speaking of. I had a dispatcher for the longest. I'm just like, this lady knew the system so well. I'm just like, but she lacked a little bit in confidence of herself and some leadership skills because she was so friendly with the people that she was leading. So when it was time for her to actually step up and be their leader, she struggled with that. But that's why she was saying, you know what, I don't think it's right for me because she's not able to manage that friendship and being their boss at the same time. So it's like, are they valuable? Yeah, they're valuable, but they don't know how to separate themselves from the culture that they're in already, being an employee or a crew member, to them being a leader.
Do you watch the podcast Valuetainment? No. Really good. Really, really good. It's like it's a video series, but it's also a podcast. The guy had this person on there and he's like a branding expert. Like a week ago, you're talking right now, and that just popped into my head, and I want to share this with you. He said there's 4 kinds of people. There's the hero, there's the guide, there's the victim, and the villain in a company. Okay. And every day you play a role in one of those people. You play multiple roles. Sometimes. Right. Sometimes you're the hero. Sometimes you're the guide. Sometimes you're the victim. Right? And sometimes you're the villain. You're the bad guy when you got to fire somebody. Oh, yeah. You got to tell somebody something. Sometimes you're a victim when you're like, what? Why don't they just do what they're supposed to do? I'm doing right by them. You play a victim as well, right? So he said the greatest role that you can play is the role of a guide. Don't be the hero. Let them be the hero. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. Let the customer be the hero. Let the employee be the hero. Let somebody else be the villain. Right? Make sure that they're not the victim. Right. But don't be the hero. Let them be the hero. Be the guide. Guide them through that process of making sure, like the person that you're talking about. You said that she's really great, but she can't manage people because she knows them too well. Yeah. I've had that happen too. So what you have to do is you have to be smart enough as a leader to take her out of that situation, put her a different shift where they don't know anybody. Because you know they can do it. Right. They got it.
It's funny. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah. So
that's exactly what happened. You know, instead of you working mornings where you're so comfortable now. Yeah. And initially I hired you to do nights. So I know you're available to do nights. Yeah. But now, and bro, it changed. Right now, she's the deputy operation manager in the company that I left.
She's crushing it.
Crushing it. Yeah. Crushing it because broke her out of that comfort zone. Yeah. Switched it up on her. Yeah. She had to adjust. Yeah.
So, I mean, so that's a credit to you to being able to see that.
Yeah. She had to adjust because I seen it. Yeah. You have to see it in them and put them in a position that they can see it themselves.
I have a staff member like that too, bro. This girl is a rock star. I don't want to name her by name right now. Right. I don't want to blow up her head too much. Somebody's gonna come try to take one of my staff members or some crazy shit. But she's she's like, I could tell right off the rip that she was very smart. She was very capable and cerebral. She would think, about every scenario. So right off immediately, I was like grooming her to take a leadership position. And I don't think she was comfortable with herself in the role. But as soon as the dynamic changed within the room, she started to really see what I saw in her. Right. You understand? But first I had to figure out whether or not that's what she wanted. Sometimes out of necessity, we put people in a position of our own necessity. Yeah. Like you want this person to be a leader, so you push them to be a leader, and then they end up disappointing you because that's not what they want, bro.
It's not. So they have to be okay with it.
They have to want it. They have to want it. They have to want the responsibility and the promotion that comes along with it. So I recognize that, and I kind of put her in a different role and dynamic, and because of that, she flourished.
Nice.
Yeah, thank God. Nice. I needed her to flourish. Nice. So that was a win, but that don't always
pan out that way, bro.
Don't always fucking pan out,
Just
bro.
Definitely don't, man. Yeah. Definitely don't. All right, man. So we've been wrapping up for about an hour now. It's so easy, right? Yeah. So easy.
Yo, this is fun,
when
bro.
It's value. It is.
This is fun.
Just going back and forth. So what is... Just to wrap it all up, right? What is that thing that you would say to that young entrepreneur out there? Somebody that's just getting in the game. They were just like hopefully at the research stage. Yeah. You mean? And they're ready.
Do your research.
Right. And they're ready to jump in.
Yeah.
Okay. But like they're still scared. They still don't want to throw their hands in the water. What is that one thing that you would tell somebody right now that once they hear it is, they know they got to get the hell up?
you got to be that guy in your life that changes your world. Think about it, bro. Think about the people. I got into business for myself because I wanted to change my life trajectory. Nobody was changing it for me. You understand?
Right.
You want to be that guy, you got to be that guy.
Yeah.
You can't talk about being that guy. You got to get up and be that guy.
Be that.
You got to be willing to put up the hours and everything that comes along with it. You're only going to live once. You can't do it when you're, a certain point in your life. I'm not going to say age because I've seen people succeed at 60, at 70. So but you have to have the health, the mental stability, the wealth, right? Like all of the things that you need in order to do it. You have a window of opportunity. That window is short. Stop waiting. That fucking window is short. You only have a limited amount of time to get going. Don't think that I had an economics professor once talk about like how the markets move. I couldn't get over it. Like, I think it was my dyslexia. I couldn't get over it. He said, if you stand still, the world moves forward. That means you're behind. I couldn't understand. I said, but I'm standing still.
Right.
What's the problem? I'm still where I'm at. He's like, yeah, but you don't get it. The whole world just moved forward. Right? So if you view life in that scenario, you got the most to gain. What are you going to lose? Money?
Right.
Who gives a shit about that?
Yeah.
Honestly. I know that sometimes money is a big priority for people. So they're like, I can't lose. I can't. Yeah, but bro, come on now. Let's keep it real. How much money do you blow on dumb shit anyways? Right? Yeah. Count them fucking coffees and...
Yeah, that's my scenario.
Count all the bullshit that we spend money on every day. You really worried about losing a couple $1,000s? Yeah. Honestly?
Every day.
Yeah, you blow... Come on now. Put pen to paper and calculate your life expenses and figure out what discretionary money you're fucking off anyways. So... You're worried about to lose that money. You're already giving it to the man. Why are you worried about that? You already blowing it. So why is that even? What fear do you have? Your fear should be you lived a life uneventful.
Wow.
That's the fear. A mediocre life. A life that you didn't capitalize on who you are as a person.
Right.
Like, why is that not like your number one priority in life? A mediocre lifestyle. That's all I live. I lived a life unlived. Shit, that's the worst kind of life.
Right.
What did you do? What did you get done? What do you put your name behind? Nothing. That to me is the worst, bro.
Wow.
What is it? I lost money? Take that. Like, I don't know. I feel like that, think about you in 30, 40 years when you look back at your life. It has to be filled with beautiful memories of family and friends. See, this is the misconception, right? We on the Instagram wave now. Everybody's Snapchatting and Instagramming their burgers and cheeseburgers and hot dogs and whatever the fuck else they're Instagramming. They're keeping track of all these things, but they're not accounting for one thing. What career fulfillment do you have? Because that's part of your calculation. I don't care who you are. You must feel like even if you're a housewife, are your kids a rock star? Are they rock stars?
Are they?
You get my point, right?
Yeah.
If they're not, you lived an uneventful life. That's a sad way to end the story. Right?
Right.
You're painting your picture. It's not going to be on cheeseburgers on Instagram. It's going to be on what you did. What you did doesn't necessarily you built a business. It could be like you raised amazing children.
Wow.
Right?
Right.
Or you helped feed homeless for 20 to 30 years. And you documented all these beautiful people that you helped. That's an eventful life, bro. Right? Or you changed the course of some child's life in your school that he was going to be a criminal.
Right.
Be dead on the street. That's an eventful life. If living an uneventful life doesn't motivate you, I don't know what the fuck will. What will?
Fact.
I feel like that's kind of my life goal, man. Just to live a life that's a little bit more, I don't know. I feel like if you don't live a life that's that kind of life, then, we wasted our time on this earth.
Time.
Yeah.
Wasting time, man.
Yeah.
Guys, that's it, man. Like, Stop wasting time out there. Get up. Live an eventful life, man.
Definitely.
Live an eventful life. So, where can people find you at, man?
You can find me working.
Working, I like that.
You can find me in the lab cooking, the kitchen cooking, boy.
Oh, man.
You can find me on capswag.com.
Yes.
You can find us on Capswag TV on YouTube.
Nice.
On Capswag USA on Instagram. You can find us at the stores cooking it up in Berlin, New Jersey, down the shore. But I mean, you can find me.
Not hard to find.
Nah, hell no. This is the
Cap
21st century.
If you kept swagging it, you're finding him, you know? Yes. So,
yo, listen, before we go on, I know we want to cut this down. I want to thank you again for coming down.
Man, you already know.
You're a class act, bro. Real talk.
You already know,
I appreciate you educating me on this whole process and what it is. And I think we're going to work, bro.
We're going to work.
Definitely.
We're going to work.
Yeah, there's no reason not to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to work. We got to make it work.
Yeah.
We gotta do it.
So what do you think about the name? What do you think about that name I hit you with?
I'm with it.
You fuck with it?
Yeah. I'm with it. I mean,
you want to say it or you want me to say it?
Go ahead. You tell them.
It's the Hustle Man Podcast.
Hustle Man Podcast, man.
Yeah.
So you've just listened to an episode of the Hustle Man Podcast.
Yes.
With myself.
Yes.
E from Garment Creations.
Yes.
And my partner, my brother over here.
Yes.
Muhammad
Ismail.
I
got that Middle Eastern name. You ain't gonna forget it. You ain't gonna forget it. It's that long ass name with multiple characters.
Right.
Muhammad Ismail.
Yes. From capswag.com.
MrCapswag.com.
That's it. All right, y'all. So until next time, if you listen to this thing here, go ahead, like, subscribe, and rate us anywhere you're listening to this podcast. Let us know where we can link up next time. Where else do we what other topic you want to hear about? Let us know. Okay. All right. So next time we see y'all again. Peace.
So good.
That was great.
Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah.
It was just a natural
there was
conversation.
Energy, bro.
I mean.
Yeah, but this is how you cook shit up in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Right? If you're in a studio and you making music with somebody and this shit is uncomfortable, you in the wrong fucking room.
That's true.
Right? Same thing goes for this or anything else. You have to be able to cook with that person. Mm-hmm. If you don't cook, you ain't got nothing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. All right, man.
That was good.
That was great.
Yeah.
That was good.